which creates a massive financial incentive for people from other countries to come to your country, and you don't prosecute them for crime, they're going to be beholden to you, and they will vote for you.
Imagine living in a nation where sharing a joke online could land you in handcuffs while dangerous offenders roam free, where 12,000 citizens each year are punished not for violence, but for speech. And now picture your politicians standing up not for you, but for those tearing apart your communities, your security, your liberty. This isn't some distant dictatorship. This is today's United Kingdom.
Is that you prey upon people's empathy. You say like, well, you feel sorry for something, for some group, and then like, well, and that empathy is to such a degree that it is suicidal to your country or culture, and that's suicidal empathy.
And tonight, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan just exposed the real reason Keir Starmer's government lets illegal migrants pour into the country, and why speaking out about it could be the next thing they silence. Stay with me, because what they uncover may reveal the biggest political deception in Britain's recent history. But before we get into it, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because conversations like this are exactly what the mainstream media hopes you never hear.
See the consequences, particularly in places that don't have free speech,
Yes.
right? Like England, we've
Where they lock
it.
people up for memes and stuff. Literally. Yeah.
12,000 people this year.
12,000?
12,000 arrests for social media posts.
I mean, yeah, some
Crazy.
of these things you read about it, and it's like literally, it's someone had a meme on their phone that they didn't even send to anyone,
Right.
and they're like in prison for that.
Yeah.
And there was a case in Germany where a woman got a longer sentence than the guy that raped her because of something she said on a group chat.
Wow. Was it an immigrant who raped her?
Yes.
Yeah. It was his culture.
Yeah.
He didn't know. He didn't know better.
Yes, I think she said something, not like was critical of his culture, and she got a longer sentence than the guy who raped her in Germany.
The UK, Europe, and Germany, England thing seems so insane.
It's totally insane. I actually didn't realize it was like such a huge number of people that got
12,000. Yeah, far above Russia, far above China,
right,
far above anywhere on earth. UK is number one.
Well, things I actually, I talked to friends of mine in England, and I was like, hey, aren't you worried about this? Like, shouldn't you be protesting more? And I mean, the problem is that like the legacy mainstream media doesn't cover the stuff. They're like, oh, everything's fine, you
Right.
know?
Most people aren't even aware of it until they come knocking on your door.
Yeah, until so. I mean, these like lovely sort of small towns in England, Scotland, Ireland. They've been like sort of living their lives quietly. They're like hobbits, frankly. So it's in fact, J.R.R. Tolkien based the hobbits on people he knew in small town England, because they were just like lovely people who liked to, smoke their pipe and have nice meals, and everything's pleasant. The hobbits in the Shire. The Shire, he was talking about, places like Hertfordshire, like the Shire is around in the Greater London area, Oxfordshire type of thing, the reason they've been able to enjoy the Shire is because hard men have protected them from the dangers of the world. And but since they have almost no exposure to the dangers of the world, they don't realize that they're there until one day, 1,000 people show up in your village of 500 out of nowhere and rape and start raping the kids. This has now happened God knows how many times in Britain.
And the crazy
literally
thing
raping.
is,
It's right. Like there's some 10-year-old got raped in Ireland like last week.
Yeah, there's literal
They
rape gangs.
snatched some kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you criticize it, you can get arrested. And that's where it gets insane. It's like, how are they not protecting
literally criticize
people?
it. I think it's the Prime Minister of Ireland actually, posted on X because after that, some illegal migrants snatched a 10-year-old girl who was like going to school or something, and violently raped a 10-year-old girl. And there was the people were very upset about this, and they protested. The Prime Minister of Ireland, instead of saying, yeah, we really shouldn't be importing violent rapists into our country, he criticized the protesters instead and didn't mention that the reason they were protesting was because a 10-year-old girl from their small town got raped.
So here's the question. Why are they supporting this kind of mass immigration? And is there a plan involved in all this? Is this incompetence? Is this ignoring the fact that they don't have a handle on it, so they're trying to silence dissent? Like, what is happening? Because if you wanted to destroy civilization, if you wanted to destroy Western civilization,
which George Soros seems to want to do, and there's just so there's a guy I think who I don't know if he's been on your show. God Saad?
Yeah.
Has he been on the show?
Good friend of mine. Yeah,
he's great.
He's been on multiple times.
Oh, great! He's awesome. So, the way he's got a good way to describe it, which is suicidal empathy.
Yes.
So, is that you prey upon people's empathy? So, like, well, you feel sorry for something for some group, and then and that empathy is to such a degree that it is suicidal to your country or culture, and that's suicidal empathy, because I think we should have empathy, but that empathy should extend to the victims, not just the criminals. We should have empathy for the people that they prey upon. But that suicidal empathy is also responsible for why somebody's arrested 47 times for violent offenses, gets released, and then goes and murders somebody in the U.S. That's you see that same phenomenon playing out everywhere, where the suicidal empathy is to such a degree that we're actually allowing our women to get raped and our children to get killed.
But it just doesn't seem like that would be anything that any rational society would go along with. That's what makes me so confused. It's like you're importing massive numbers of people that come from some really dark places of the world.
Well, there's no vetting is the
Right.
issue. It's like
Right.
it's like if there's no vetting, like people are just coming through. Like, well, what's to stop someone who just committed murder in some other country from coming to the United States or coming to Britain and just continuing their career of rape and murder? Like, unless you've done, if this is some due diligence to say, like, well, who is this person? What's their track record? If you haven't confirmed that they have a track record of being, honest and not being a homicidal maniac, then any homicidal maniac can just come across the border. And that's not to say everyone who comes across the border is a homicidal maniac, but if you don't have a vetting process to confirm that you're not letting in people who will do some serious violence, you will get people who do serious violence sometimes coming through.
Well, especially if you don't punish them and if you don't
Yes.
deport them. And if you are just like, well, but what is the purpose of allowing all those people into the country? It can't be. I wouldn't imagine that anyone in their society supports this.
Well, let me explain. So because you mentioned, for example, how much, say, Hillary and Obama have changed their tune from prior speeches where they were hard-nosed about not letting in anyone who's a criminal into the country, having secure borders, all that stuff. So why did they change their tune? The reason is that they discovered that those people vote for them. That's why they want the open borders.
Because if you let people in, they know the Democrats let them in, they'll vote for Democrats.
Yes.
If you allow them to vote.
Which which they're actively doing. They turn a blind eye to illegal voting.
Well, California literally doesn't allow you to show your license.
California and New York have made it illegal to show your photo ID when voting. Thus, effectively, they've made it impossible to prove fraud. Impossible. They've essentially legalized fraudulent voting in California and New York and many other parts of the country.
There's no rational explanation that I've ever seen anyone give as to why that would be the policy. Unless you were trying to just allow people to vote illegally, because there's no other reason. If you need a driver's license or you need an ID for everything else,
Yes.
including just recently to prove that you were vaccinated.
The same people who are demanding that you have a vaccine passport and are the same ones saying you need no ID to vote. Same people.
Right, but like...
So it's obviously hypocritical and inconsistent.
So you really think it's just to get more voters?
If you want to understand behavior, you have to look at the incentives. Once the Democratic Party in the U.S. and the left in Europe realized that if you have open borders and you provide a ton of government handouts, which creates a massive financial incentive for people from other countries to come to your country, and you don't prosecute them for crime, they're going to be beholden to you, and they will vote for you. And that's why Obama and Hillary went from being against open borders to being in favor of open borders. That's the reason. In order to import voters so they can win elections. And the problem is that has a negative runaway effect. So if they get away with that, it is a winning strategy. If they are allowed to get away with it, they will import enough voters to get supermajority voting, and then there is no turning back.
We talked about this before the election, and then
Yes.
you literally pointed towards the camera. You faced the camera and said that if you do not vote now, you might not ever be able to do it again because
Right.
it'll be futile. It'll be overrun.
Yes,
They'll keep the borders open for another 4 years, and then their objective will be achieved.
correct. If Trump had lost, there would never have been another real election again, because Trump is actually enforcing the border. Now, you can point to situations where there's been, immigration, enforcement has been overzealous because they're not going to be perfect. There'll be cases where they've been overzealous in expelling illegals. But if you say that the standard must be perfection for expelling illegals, then you will not get any expulsion. Because perfection is impossible.
And you've probably got millions of people that are here that are trying to be here under some asylum pretense, right?
Yes.
Like you could just come from a war-torn part of the world.
They changed the definition of asylum to be economic
Right.
asylum,
Which is everybody.
Which is everybody.
Yeah.
So
It's the lowest bar to prove.
Asylum is supposed to mean that if you go back to your country, you'll get killed.
Right.
That's what we mean by asylum. That was what it's supposed to mean. They changed the definition of asylum to be you will have a decreased standard of living, which is obviously not real asylum. And you can test the absurdity of this by the fact that people who are asylum seekers go on vacation to the country that they're seeking asylum from. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't have to.
When you understand the incentives, then you understand the behavior. So once the left realized that illegals will vote for them if they have open borders and combine that with government handouts, to create a massive incentive, they're basically using U.S. and European taxpayer dollars to provide a financial incentive to bring in as many illegals as possible to vote them into permanent power and create a one-party state. And I invite anyone who's listening to this, just do any research, and the more you dig into it, the more it will become obvious that what I'm saying is absolutely true.